So, people, the prelims for UFC London. Man, we've got 7 fights. One of them fell through, unfortunately. But we have 7 fights. And I believe there are 3 debuts amongst these fights. We start off with Shanelle Dyer against Ravena Oliveira. All right. And yes, with this fight, boom, what have we got here? So Ravena Kennedy, I think, Kennedy Oliveira. She's 29, 5'5", 65-inch reach. She's got a 7-3-1 overall record. Right, within the UFC, she's 0-2, unfortunately. And yeah, she's on a 2-fight skid right now. So she came to the UFC in October 2023. She lost to Tanara Lisboa, a unanimous decision. Then in October last year, she got choked out in the 3rd round by Stephanie Luciana. Oh, dear, sorry. Now, before that, her fight that got her into the UFC, she actually won the, the LKC, right? The LKC Flyweight Championship. So she won that with 3rd round ground and pound, and before that fight, literally, she won the MCF Bantamweight Championship. All right. So that one, that was a 1st round knockout, right? So she has, titles outside. She's won via knockout, via, submission. So, yeah, she's got skills, right? It's just not being able to translate any of that within the UFC. Night, right? She goes up against Shanelle the Nightmare Dyer, right? Who, well, she's 24, 5'6", 65-inch reach. She's got a 6-1-0 overall record. Coming in off of a loss, right? And you've been like, how'd you come to the UFC off of a loss? Well, the loss was her Contender Series fight, right? She went to war with Carol Farrow, and that was September last year. And it was such a, back and forth crazy fight that Dana gave them both contracts. You know what I mean? It was one of those. And, so that's the thing. That's what's got her to UFC. Now, outside, right? So, she's done Muay Thai, and, MMA. She's won, like, her first MMA fight, won with a spinning back fist. Right, she's got knockout, she's got submissions, an omoplata, a head kick knockout. Right, she's got a variety of finishes. You know, she fought in the PFL 3 times, won all of those. And she's doing it. Her teammate, her friend, he was killed, and it's in his memory essentially that she's, you know, trying to live out their dreams. Because on the Contender, she did say that, you know, they both talked about getting to the UFC, both getting the belts, you know what I mean? So that's what she's trying to do. She interestingly fought Shauna Bannon in the amateurs, where, you know, she lost that fight. But yeah, you know, she won a couple of belts in the amateurs. Well, actually, she's won 4 belts, I think, 4 amateur belts. All right, so yeah, she knows what's needed, right? Knows what's needed. And as I said, it was a really fun war. Now, Oliveira did miss weight slightly, right? She did miss weight slightly for the fight. I think that she missed, by half a pound. You know what I mean? So not crazy egregious, but, you know, you always do hear fighters say that half a pound is the hardest to lose. You know what I mean? There is that. Now, I think, it's an interesting one. Oliveira definitely has the experience, but she hasn't won in the promotion. I think it's going to be an interesting fight. What I'm going to say, Shanelle gets things going, right? I think with everything, with the home crowd, I'm going to go Shanelle, Dyer for the win. So we then get to the lightweights. We have Shaqueme Rock against Abdul-Kareem Al-Selwady. So with this fight, Pride of Palestine, Abdul-Kareem Al-Selwady, right? He is 30, 5'8", 69-inch reach. Overall pro record of 15-4. Okay, so he lost his UFC debut. So he's coming in off of a loss. Fights out of Fortis MMA. Came via the Contender Series. So he won that contract in August 2023 with a unanimous decision over George Hardwick. He then made his debut March 2024. Got stopped in the 3rd round by Louie Radzhabov. So he's been out for a minute, right? He's taken some grappling fights either side of that UFC bout. He won both of the grappling matches. When you look at the pro career, he did win a belt, right? He won the Fury FC Lightweight Championship. Beat Michael Murray via decision. There's a few like he's won a few things like by a knockout. Had a couple of submissions. You know what I mean? A lot of fights do go to a decision, and that's not a bad thing at all, right? But yeah, he's fought a few times for Fury. He's fought for the LFA, along with a load of other organizations. So it's kind of I think Brave FC. It's just dependent on what that opposition is actually like, right? Now he's going up against, or how do we pronounce it? Shamrock. So Shaqueme Rock. Shamrock. And Shem is 32, 5'11", 73-inch reach. Overall record of 12-2-1. Okie dokie. So, I think he trained with Paddy at Next Gen. He lost his UFC debut. So that was November last year. He lost a decision to Narulo Oliveira. Now, before that, right, he was, I think he does like a rear naked choke, right? You can definitely see that. Loves a rear naked. I think in his first pro fight, he did win with an armbar, right? There's a Python trap. I'm not quite aware of what that one is, but most of the submission wins he has are rear nakeds, right? In the amateurs, he got a triangle, which won him an amateur title. But yes, he does like a rear naked choke. I think there's a few knockout wins, but predominantly it's submissions that Shem is a big fan of, right? So yes, I mean, this is like, what's interesting here is you've got Shem who likes a submission, Abdul-Kareem Al-Quadi, right? I mean, they're both coming off of losses, in their fights. And Al-Kawadi, right? He goes the distance a lot. So I don't think Shem necessarily has to worry. You know what I mean? I think you always have to worry, but the knockout isn't the big fear coming in. So there is the potential for him to maybe, get the fight to the ground. And with his love of rear nakeds, I think we'll be looking for Shem to grab one of those. Yeah, I think this is a very well matched up fight. I think I'm going to take Shamrock for the win. I think I'm going to Shem for the win. Right, so we then have our sole heavyweight clash. We got Louie Sutherland against Brando Peričić, right? I think that's what we're saying. So Brando Peričić, right? The Balkan Bear. He's 31, 6'5", 79.5-inch reach, right? He's got a pro record of 5-1. Right, he won his UFC debut in September last year. He knocked out Elisha Ellison in the first round. Got performance of the night for that one, right? So that extends his winning streak to 3. Now, he fights out of City Kickboxing, right? So he's got elite training partners and everything like that. In those first pro fights, right? I mean, his first pro fight he won by a first round stoppage. In the second, he got a rear naked in the first, right? He lost his next fight, got choked out, but then won the next 2, right? Via knockout. And then that takes us to the UFC debut. So he's got skills, right? He's got power, but this is the heavyweights, right? So, hey, it's not as deep a division as many of the others. So, going up against people outside the UFC, you really don't know what their skills are like. Really do not know. And we've seen people be on tears, come to the UFC, and then just, it just not going too well for them. Now, Peričić, he did look great in that day, right? But he's going up against the Vanilla Gorilla, Louie Sutherland, who's 32, 6'3", 76-inch reach, overall pro of 10-4. He is also coming in off of a loss in his UFC debut as well, where he lost to Walter Walker. And if you're fighting for Walker, the way you lose is most likely heel hook, right? Which he got caught in. And in that fight, he wasn't great about, fight IQ. He kind of put himself in the position to get heel hooked. It was a very odd fight with some very suspect decision making from Sutherland, I have to say. That was his debut. Now, he won the Levels Fight League Heavyweight Championship in his fight before his UFC debut. He's he won another belt. What was this one? The Fight Star Championship. So he won that one. He's won. He's knocked out some people, right? He's lost decisions, and we saw him, as I said, make some very dubious decisions in the cage, right? I think he is big, so he is looking to knock you out, but I don't know about Sutherland, right? I think this fight will tell us a lot. Right? Was the first fight just nerves? Maybe. I'm not sure. But I do think that Brando Peričić, he looked more well-rounded, let's say, in his fights. So I think I'm going to go with Brando for that win. So we then go to the middleweights, right? We have Mantas, Kondratavičius against Antonio Tricolo. Yeah, I mean, this could be a very interesting one, right? Mantas, he's 26, 6'2", 75.5-inch reach, an 8-1 pro record. Okay, let's see. So he's coming via the Contender Series. He's on a 3-fight win streak. So he won that contract September last year. First round stoppage of Danny Barbier. Yeah, now before that, right, he has fought for Cage Warriors. Got a first round knockout there. He's won via armbar. Yeah, there's a good few knockouts. He's also done some kickboxing, right? Done some kickboxing. He's picked up a few subs, right? Got an armbar in the amateurs. Yeah, like one, it just says submission. Right, so we don't know. He did get an armbar in February 2024, right? Now he has been subbed, right? He got subbed by a rear naked choke. Yes. So, like. But he looked good on the Contender Series. So does he get caught up in his debut? That is the big question with Mantas. Right now, he is stepping in against Malvaldo Antonio Trócoli, right? Who is 35, 6'5", and 80-inch reach. So Trócoli comes in with that reach advantage. He's 12-6 with 1 no contest. He has not won in the UFC, right? His Contender Series fight ended with a no contest. So it's been tough, right? Especially, he made his debut in June 2024, right? Got knocked out in the 3rd round by Shara Bullet. In his next fight, Trayson Gore choked him out in the 1st round. And then Mansour Abdul Malik choked him out also in the 1st round with another guillotine. So that was December last year. So it's been tough for Trócoli, like he has won via rear naked, right? So he's aware of the sub. He's had an anaconda or a couple of arm triangles. You know what I mean? But it's just left his head, in bad situations in those last 2. So he needs this win, right? I don't think Trócoli can get a 4th loss and still be in the promotion. So that's what makes it tricky for him, right? mean, his contender series fight, right? That was July 2019. It got overturned. So obviously, I don't know. I think there must have been a drug situation there. But I'm not quite sure on what side of things. Ooh, the confidence is going to be a bit low, right? There's going to be a lot of weight here because you know how desperately a win is needed for Trócoli. Mantas is riding high. I think it's that confidence, that youth. I think I'm going to go with Mantas for the win. Oh, you know what? I think I told a lie, right? Because we do have a second heavyweight clash on the card, right? That's up next. We have Mário Pinto against Felipe Franco. All right, so Felipe Negao Franco, right? He is 25, 6'1", 76-inch reach. He's on a 10-1 overall pro record. Right? He's on a 2-win streak. He did fight on the contender, but he wasn't able to get that contract. He was choked out in the third round. Vidal, right? That was Freddie Vidal. He is a Sarah BJJ fighter, right? Sarah Longo fighter. And I can't remember if that was... I do believe that was the first time Freddie fought. That was short notice, right? So it was a sloppy fight, but he pulled out the victory. So hats off to Freddie. But yes, it didn't quite go as planned for Franco. Now, he's eventually got to the UFC, right? So he's making his debut Saturday night, right? Now, he won his last fight before, right? He fought in February, 7th of February, and he got a first round rear naked over Douglas Felipe Santos. He's had knockouts, right? Look, he's had an arm triangle win, another rear naked. He's got a few more knockouts in the first. So, yeah, he does have all of that. It looks like he's had a load of fights under the demo banner. Not sure. It might be a local Brazilian promotion. So he has fought a number of times there. Now, he's stepping in against Mário Pinto, right? Who is 28, 6'5", 79-inch reach. He's 11-0 pro record. He's on an 11-fight win streak. He is Portuguese, but, he fights out of Fight Zone in London. So, yeah, he's going to have that London crowd, supporting him on Saturday, right? He is currently 2-0 in the UFC. He came via the Contender Series, got that contract October 2024, knocked out Lucas Camacho in the first round. Then that debut, right? Beat Austin Lane, second round knockout. Got performance of the night for that one. And then last time out, he beat Jahonta Denise, Second round ground and pound. That was October last year. I mean, Pinto does look good, right? He definitely does look good. He did pick up the Levels Fight League heavyweight belt. Won that March 2023, unanimous decision. Defended it twice in the second defense, third round ground and pound. The second via decision. So that led him to the Contender Series, right? Yeah, so, he knows submissions. He's got knockouts. I mean, Pinto does look legit. He is dangerous, right? His amateur career, he was knocking a lot of people out. Won belts, right? Definitely, won amateur belts. He did lose his last amateur fight, right? But that's always good, right? Get that shit out the way before you turn pro, right? And, being on that 11th fight, he did learn. He definitely did learn. And I think Pinto is very skillful. It's going to be interesting to see where he goes, especially because, as we've said, that heavyweight division is very thin. So there is a lot of possibilities for him. And I think Saturday night, he's going to be a bit too much for Franco. So I'm going Pinto for the win. Right, so our last two prelim fights are very tasty, right? So next up, we're with the featherweights. We have Nathaniel Wood against Losene Keita. I'm not sure if I pronounced that right, people, to be honest with you. Losene Keita, the Black Panther. He's 28, 5'7", 72-inch reach, right? Got an overall record of 16-1. And he is currently on a 5-fight win streak. Saturday will be his pro debut, right? He was actually meant to make that debut against Patricio Pitbull, right? I think that was going to be in Brazil. Yes, I do believe that was on the Brazil card. I think that was a Brazil card, right? Oh, I think it was, right? But I do remember that, he missed weight. He did miss weight for that one, by a few pounds, and Pitbull refused to take the fight. And Keita was distraught. Him and his team tried their utmost to convince Pitbull, but it was not going to happen. That was September last year. Now is when he's going to make that debut. The last fight he had, he got a second round knockout, right? Winning the Octagon belt, the lightweight championship. That was December 2024. Got a performance of the night for that one, right? He has got a few stoppages, right? A few fights have gone to decision. He's had some Muay Thai fights, right? Nothing on the submission front, right? I think he just likes to stand and bang. That's what we know about Losene Keita. Now, going up against Nathaniel Wood, right? He's now going by the Last Kingsman, which I do believe is a new, it's a new name. I swear his last was the prototype, maybe. I think it was, but yeah, I do. Nathaniel Wood has definitely changed his nickname, right? He's 32, 5'6", 69-inch reach, overall record of 22-6. Right, he's on a 3-fight win streak right now. He's 10-3 in the UFC. You know, he's been fighting for a minute, right? He was a former Cage Warriors champion, made his debut in June 2018. Fought Johnny Eduardo in a dash choke in the second round, right? You know, then the next two won by rear naked before he got into a scrap with John Dobson and got stopped in the third. But I think with Wood, man, like there's always been a lot of promise. You know, he's picked up some good wins, beat Charles Jourdain, Charles Rosa, right? Andre Fili, Daniel Pineda, Morgan Charrier, right? He's had some very good wins. Jose Delagio, who stopped Hyder Emil, right? He has looked good. He's moved up, you know, a weight division. He is a tough out to make your debut against. You know what I mean? Old Nathaniel Wood, right? He knows submissions. You know what I mean? He's been in there with heavy hitters for sure, right? But he's been able to get it done. As I said, former Cage Warriors champion, right? Oh, I mean, I don't think Losene has fought, you know, the same caliber of fighters as Wood has. So I think I'm gonna take Nathaniel Wood to, do his thing and pick up that hometown win. So our final fight on the prelims, right? We're going from the featherweights to the lightweight. We have Mason Jones against Axel Sola, which should be a fun one, right? Axel Sola, he is 28, 6'2", 74-inch reach. He's got a pro record of 11-0-1. It's on an 11-fight win streak right now. You know, won his UFC debut. That was against Reese McKee, September last year. You know, it stopped him in the third round. That was definitely, that was a fun fight, people. That really was. You know what I mean? Yeah, you know, he's won championships, right? He won the Aries FC lightweight championship belt. You know, he picked that up in December 2023. Fourth round knockout, and defended it 4 times, right? Winning 2 via decision, 2 by second round stoppage. It's a mixture of stoppages and, you know, decisions. There is, I think his pro debut, he won via arm triangle, but ever since it's been either decision or knockout. And the way he's been able to pull off those wins, right? Now, I think Aries is a decent organization, right? But I don't know essentially what the caliber of opponent is, but I do think that Mason Jones is possibly his toughest test to date, right? The Dragon, he's 30, 5'10", 74-inch reach. He's on a 17-2 with 1 no contest pro record. Right, he is 3-2 in the UFC with 1 no contest. Went 12-0 in Cage Warriors. I do think he was a 2-division champion in Cage Warriors, but right, since returning to the UFC, he's looked very good, right? He got the unanimous decision over Jeremy Stevens, right? That was May last year. They were both returning that day, and Jones, right? He wanted to do it, but Jones really did control that fight. And then in his second outing, he picked up a performance of the night with a second round stoppage over Baloge Oki, right? That was September last year, right? He won via elbows. Whew, right? Now, yeah, Mason, right? As I said, it's his second stint in the UFC, right? First time out, he lost a back and forth war with Mike Beast Boy Davis. Got fight of the night. That was January 2021. His next fight against Alan Patrick was a no contest. He did pick up a win over David Onama, but then he lost to Ludovic Klein, which was the end of his first UFC run. Went back to Cage Warriors, right? He then won 4 fights back to back, which got him back in the big show. And he, as I say, he's looked good. He has definitely looked good. And as I said, I do think this, Sola might be on an 11-fight winning streak, but I do think Jones is his toughest competition. And I think the Dragon will be roaring and soaring Saturday night. He is from Wales, but the home crowd will be in his corner. So yeah, we're going Mason Jones for the win. It is a good scrap to take us to that main card. I'm looking forward to it, people. What about you?